Hello, Chris. I hope you're doing well. For this lesson, I wanted to immediately take a look at Cameron Champ's swing. And the reason why is when you study this, we'll just play it a few times, you're probably going to notice this magic move that I've been chasing. I think you're chasing it. And we're talking about the movement where at the top of the swing, of course, the club is on plane, but the club head kicks that way, right? So he's shallowing in transition. And it doesn't matter if you take a tour player or someone who's 65 years old who's playing good golf. What I've noticed is this: you will not find hardly ever a good golfer who the moment the transition starts, you will see the club head ever kick that way. You just don't see it. So this model is a bit exaggerated. You know, we don't have to over inflate our expectations. So we'll try and get you to the point where once we get you on plane at the top more, we can at least maintain the angle coming down so you're not so steep. Now, if you're wondering how the heck is he doing this, you know, I questioned that for a long time. How is he making this move? Well, of course, part of that involves other themes we've talked about. It's tilting on a steep axis, the head lowers, the butt stays back. Those are all variables. But one thing that I haven't talked about a lot with you is once he gets to P3, right here, left arm parallel, he is going to pronate the left forearm, okay? And he's going to supinate the right forearm. Now that sounds like a lot, but I'll show you more examples later in this lesson. But what he's doing is rotating his forearms at the top, towards the top of the backswing, and then even more so in transition. That's why this club is able to shallow out. So it's pronation and supination. The biggest mistake people make is they try and do this too early, where they twist their arms and then the club head swings, way back inside. Now his takeaway is actually a touch inside. It's not a huge deal. But the whole key is, like we talked about, wide takeaway, right arm on top of the left. And he's not, a perfect example of that, but he's in pretty good shape. But then to incorporate more forearm rotation at the top so that we can get closer to this move. So again, no, I'm repeating myself, but it's so important to know that all players either kick the club head that way in transition that are really good. It's not required, but at the very minimum in transition, you'll see the club basically go straight down this way. So let's take a breather here. Look at your swing, because there's a lot of phenomenal stuff that you've improved on since our last lesson, okay? Alright, so here you are from face on. I'll start here. So again, that video you sent me from in your house, continue working on that grip and the arms, but it's already way, way better, which we'll see. So let's take a peek. Right away, excellent. I really like the way you're loading your weight right. We already know about that reverse pivot as a bad habit in the past, but it seems like you're beyond that. So this is superb to see you loading right. Again, look how much better your right arm is staying on top of the left, and I would like for you to continue exaggerating that. When you get to P3, which once again, left arm parallel to the ground, this right here is simply outstanding. 90-degree angle, perfect wrist hinge. Again, the only thing I could criticize here is that right elbow is still poking out a little bit. And the other thing I might criticize is that you don't have that much shoulder turn at P3. So usually by P3, I'd like to see that right shoulder just turning behind you a bit more. But all in all, from this angle, you're doing really, really nice. So there's the increase of the wrist hinge, right? We love to see that. a little bit coming up short on the lateral drive, right? So a little bit more, if we watch just the impact here, I'm noticing a little bit of a lack of commitment on the follow through. So you're stopping right about here, whereas I'd love to see you swing your arms a little bit higher, wrap the club a little bit more around. So a little bit more of a committed follow through with a little bit more thrust. But all in all, from this angle, wonderful job. And again, just little minor things. The grip, what to continue working on there, but this is, again, massively improved. So I think for this lesson, the bigger part of the equation will be down the line. Let's take a look from that angle. All right, so here we are from down the line. So I'm going to say right off the bat, your setup could not be any better. This is really outstanding here. Spine angle. You're not sitting back in your heels. You're not hunched over. Really nice posture there. All right, so when you go back, the only thing I would maybe quibble with here is trying to get that left shoulder to work a little bit more straight down towards the ground. So again, a little bit more tilt. Now, again, this right arm, if you notice this position, it's something like that. So some players are able to do this, but one of the outcomes can be, when you buckle it, getting a little bit too across the line. It's going to come back again to this whole pronation and supination deal, which I'll get into again with more illustrations. So again, a little bit of a flat axis of the shoulders, but not too bad. So if you look at P3, all in all, this is really a pretty good position, right? I mean, your hips aren't falling too far off this line. I mean, they're staying back for the most part. Your head, it hasn't bobbed upward. You're good job here at P3. What's going to be crucial is, other than keeping this right arm a little bit straighter, is aggressively starting to, again, supinate your right forearm. So you're going to have to rotate the forearms so that you feel like this club is pointed way into left field. And I'm going to show you some drills as to how to exaggerate that and do some paused repetitions, because when you have a short swing like you do, and there's nothing wrong with the short swing, I think a compact swing often will deliver consistency. But when you get this far across, Chris, and you're not, I mentioned in the email, Bubba Watson, Freddie Couples, they have their right elbow winged way up here. They simply would have more time to recover from across the line. Now, I don't advocate winging the right elbow way up behind you, but when your arms are compact and the club is pointing this way, even though you are shallowing, right? The club head's kicking this way. Just because it's not on plane at the top, it's just really, really hard to try and get this thing in a a more shallow angle of attack, where it would be leaning back this way opposed to a little bit too vertical. So in your email, you talked about pulling the ball to the left. Well, here's the reason why. You get a club face that's closed, and then you have a transition where you're coming into the ball a bit steep. That would absolutely explain why the ball may shoot out this way. And as I referenced from the other view, we can see it here. Notice there's a little bit of a lack of commitment on the follow through. So there's that club. I just would like to see you use a little bit more force, try and thrust the hips back this way, and then follow through with the hands, much higher. All right, so let's continue looking at some examples, and then I'll show you some drills here. All right, so here's one drill you can do. This is me working indoors, so check this out. I'm going to, and I'll show you this from the other view as well. I have my left arm across my chest, and I'm going to use the back of my hand as sort of an anchor, so that when I turn back, what's going to happen is I can get to the top and then just prove to you that by pronating from a right arm only perspective, the club twists that way, and supinating, the club twirls that way. So if you get in front of a mirror, I'd like you to do this, get in front of a mirror, get on camera, and just get it so that you're in a slightly laid off position. Now it's fine to play great golf where the club head is actually like right on top of the hands, but because of the fact you're so across the line right now, we're going to have to stretch the imagination. So then, once it's correct, I'm going to grab the club, right, and swing down. Let's watch that one more time here. So again, looking in the mirror on camera, make sure that that club is in the right direction, pointing more into left field, regrip, and swing down. Do that over and over and over again. Now, let's take a look at something else here. Now, from the face-on view, what's really cool about this, again, there's the back of my left hand, essentially on my right tricep, is when I take the club back, that left arm is forcing with, right? It's automatically going to force my right elbow to swing away from the body. So it's sort of killing two birds with one stone. I'm able to create with and also work on the club position here. Now, once you continue practicing that specific drill, once you get better at it, you can simply use both arms and then just pause at the top. Let's watch again. So going to the top, I'm going to pause. Like I said, if you have your camera turned on and you look at it, just make sure that if anything, you're slightly laid off and never pointing over here. And then I'll swing down using a foam ball, right? I like using a foam ball at times because you don't have to worry about contact or the ball flight. We can just work on positions. If I hit a golf ball into this dry wall, it wouldn't be good. So anyways, let's conclude this lesson with one other drill that will help you. Alright, so here's another drill involving a wall that is new to you. I don't think I showed you this one yet, so rather than using it for specifically hip depth, check this out. I have the club flipped upside down because the rubber grip is not going to damage the wall. So what I'm going to do here is get somewhere near the top of the swing, and again, trying to create some tilt here. That will always help. But if you look at this position, this is what I would call a neutral position with the wrists. Club is relatively on plane, but here's the key. Watch the grip end drive into the wall, and I'm just going to drag it down. Let's watch this again here. So going back in transition, I'm going to rotate the forearms as much as I can and then just drag that grip end on the wall. So here we are. If we call this P5, this club is pointing very shallow. And that right elbow is driving well in front of the body. So again, I can't do this at full speed. This is just for the sake of a demonstration, right? I mean, check out where I'm at here. So this club actually would be coming too far into out. Instead of hitting a pull to the left, you would actually start the ball out to the right and probably draw it or even hook it. This is overdoing it, but let's watch this again. So here we go. Turning back, trying to keep that club from ever pointing into right field. And then, oh yeah, I just wanted to show you once again, you've seen this demo, but just this act of twisting the forearms. So if the right arm is supinating, that means the left arm is pronating. And then there we go, we're going to drag the grip end forcefully against the wall. So that's about as shallow as it possibly gets. And notice how much the hips during this entire process went back. All right. So anyway, I think you get the idea here. Stretching the imagination, that's what this lesson is all about. Getting a lot of paused reps in, and love to see the outcome. Send me a follow-up of just to see what your swing looks like with some paused reps. No charge for that. I just want to see how you do.